friends, today we're going to make easy Mexican casserole. It's a fun dinner that you can have ready in 35 minutes. 20 minutes of that is cooking. So you just need a few minutes to throw this casserole together and dinner is going to be delicious. Now let's start off with, you're going to find the full recipe linked in the description below, or you can go to eatingonadime.com and you can just search in Mexican casserole. This recipe, kids love it. The entire family is going to go crazy for it, and it freezes great, friends. Hi, my name is Carrie with eatingonadime.com, and today we're on a mission to help you make dinner for less. Let's go make some casserole. First, we're going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. In a large skillet, we're going to brown ground beef over medium-high heat. I love using this tool to help separate the beef. It's great so you get that perfect little crumble. We have that linked in the description below. Today we're using 1 pound of ground beef, but you can also use ground turkey or even ground chicken in this recipe. So while that beef is browning, and we're going to keep checking on it, I'm going to go ahead and get my cans open that we need for the rest of the recipe. We're going to need a can of crushed tomatoes, a can of chili beans, a can of Rotel, and 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning. Now, you can just do like a packet and measure out your taco seasoning, or you can use our homemade taco seasoning recipe. I'm going to include a link in that as well, or you can just go to eatingonadime.com, and in our search box, it works great. Just type in homemade taco seasoning, and it'll pull up that recipe for you. It's really easy to keep on hand. We even have a video on it now. Once your beef is completely browned, go ahead and drain any of the excess grease off. Now we're going to add in our taco seasoning, can of Rotel, crushed tomatoes, and the chili beans. Now we're going to stir it to combine and let it heat through. Once you've gotten it all mixed together, let's just turn it off, and we're going to leave this here while we assemble the casserole. So what we're going to do is get everything ready to assemble our casserole. The first thing we need is 2 cups of shredded cheese. I highly recommend you hand shred your cheese. Anytime you want cheese melted, it's better to buy the block and then hand shred it. It doesn't take much more effort. Ow. And it's so much easier to make, especially if you know how to shred cheese without hurting yourself. So we're just going to use a measuring cup. This one is a 2 cups, and then we're just going to fill this up with our hand shredded cheese. Now you're going to need 12 to 16 corn tortillas. Today we're using yellow corn because I think they hold up a little bit better in a casserole, but you could do white corn if you prefer. I've never tried it with flour tortillas. So you could try that. I like doing corn tortillas in a casserole because flour tortillas tend to get gummy when they're baked in a casserole. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut all the tortillas into quarters. You can use a pizza cutter or just a really large knife. I prefer a large knife, but I think my sister would prefer a pizza cutter. So I wanted to give you both options. So you should be able to stack anywhere from 3 to 6 at a time. And then you're going to cut them into corners in these perfect little triangles. Now we're going to need a 9x13 pan, and we're going to spray it with non-stick spray. Just a quick spray. Your corn tortillas that you've already been cut, I want you to divide them into thirds. So you need 3 stacks. They don't have to be exact, but just to make sure you use it all. Our first stack, we're going to line the bottom with these tortillas. And we're just covering the bottom. It doesn't have to be fancy. You just want that whole bottom because this is our crust, and it's going to make it a lot easier to, what's the word I'm looking for? To spoon it out when it's done baking. Now we're going to take our meat mixture, and we're going to put half of it in this pan. Just eyeball it. and then just spoon it out on top of those tortillas. Do one more spoon. Get that spread out. Then we're going to take that other third pile of your tortillas and make a layer right on top. Then add 1 cup of cheese. So that's half the cheese that you shredded on top of those tortillas. Just spread them out. And then this is the part of that's going to feel a little weird, but now we're going to do that last layer of tortillas on top. And this is going to make a really crunchy center that's going to be really delicious. Okay, we're almost done with our layering. We're going to top the rest of that meat in here. Spread it out. Then we're going to add about a cup of sour cream. If you don't like sour cream, go ahead and include it. You could cut it to a half a cup if you're not a fan. But think of like lasagna. When you make lasagna, you're not just going to eat like ricotta cheese by itself, but it's adding that little zip in the middle of the casserole. That's going to be good. And it's okay if it's not perfectly spread out. You're just creating a thin layer on top, so you get a little bit. And when you think about it, a cup for this entire casserole is really not that much. And our last step is the cheese. There we go. Now it's ready for the oven. Now this is what's so great is you do not have to cook it right away. You can cover this and store this in the fridge, or you can even freeze it. Get some of those foil pans and you can easily make this for a future dinner or to give to somebody that you're taking a meal to. Okay, so now we're gonna go plop this in the oven. Now we're gonna bake for about 20 minutes until that cheese is nice and bubbly. Now you can see the cheese is melted. Now we're just going to take it out and we're going to let it set for about 10 minutes before we cut it.
The trick is that you want to let it set for about 10 minutes so that way when you try to get it out of the casserole, it actually comes out whole like a lasagna looking Mexican casserole. But if you do it when it is not let set for a little bit, it just falls apart. So go ahead and be patient so you can get these beautiful, yummy layers.
It's time to dig in, friends. Top it with whatever you want, and you can serve it with a side salad and dinner is done. Remember, you can get the full recipe linked in the description below or just by going to eatingonadime.com. Don't forget, friends, like and subscribe so you don't miss any more of our family-friendly recipes. I can't wait. I'm so excited about this. I am hungry. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time in my kitchen. Bye, friends.